Yeah, I'm a little taller than her. She has to look down at me. Yeah, I'm a little taller than her. She has to look down at me.
When and if you are taller than someone, aren't you the one looking down at them and they have to look up at you? Wow.
Give me a minute.
But that's not it. Just look at how proud she is, thinking that, ooh, that was a good shade and a good read. Girl, just leave the reading to Kenya Moore, okay? And speaking of Kenya, let's get into her intro real quick and into the rest of this video.
She's at a place in her life where peace is a priority and negativity cannot exist. She's no longer matching energy. She's simply removing herself from any situation that doesn't vibrate her soul. So if you start moving funny, she's moving on.
What's up, my Fina loves? This is Fina D coming to you all from Fina Team News.
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment.
She was talking about Kenya in that clip and how she's a little taller than Kenya, but then Kenya have to look down at her, not up at her. That's why she and 265 Days were best friends.
I would like Portia to spell scepter. Go.
Nene, when the person you're not here for is funny, but you don't want to give them credit for being funny, so you have to hide your laugh under your hand. And Portia, girl, yeah, you had to catch a stray in this one. Now, most of you are aware that the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 15 is coming back on May the 7th. So the ladies are doing their rounds, doing different interviews. Now, before this interview with Marlo and Sheree, Marlo was on Heather's podcast, and she did say in that interview that there are times where she says something and she meant it one way and it comes out wrong. So I'm not surprised that she completely messed up her shade, okay? She was trying to say that because she's taller than Kenya Moore, she looks down on Kenya. Basically, Kenya is beneath her. And not only is Kenya beneath her, because Kenya is shorter, Kenya have to look up to her. Like Kenya is inspired by her, and Kenya is jealous of her. Let Marlo continue to live in her delusional headspace, okay? Let her continue to believe that you are obsessed. And that obsession backfired last season when you wouldn't leave Kenya Moore alone. But there's more to the interview, pun intended, than just Kenya Moore. So let's start from the beginning. And that's the reason why I'm not giving you timestamps here and there, because the entire interview, they talked about everybody and also the new season. So let's continue. So I posted about Kenya and Sheree being on the talk. If you missed those videos, I have included the links in the description below. But the very first link above all of that is the interview that Sheree and Marlo did for Access Hollywood, okay, on Access Hollywood YouTube channel. I have included the link. I'm talking about everything. Normally, I will give you timestamps so you don't have to sit there and watch the entire video. But the entire interview is necessary because throughout the interview, they are throwing shade and talking about other people. So that's why I'm not giving you timestamps, okay? In one of the situations, Sheree is talking about attempting to be the peacemaker this season and holding people accountable. And basically, you don't get to talk about her crazy and then don't expect her to have a reaction or, talk back or hold you accountable. So while Sheree was saying that, she did not call any names. She was just having a general conversation about holding people accountable this season. But of course, Marlo is obsessed with Kandi now. You already know she's obsessed with Kenya. But lately, her focus been on Kandi. And so while Sheree was explaining that story, Marlo said Kandi randomly. Basically, she's talking about Kandi. All of this started around the 2 minutes and 33, 34, 35 seconds mark. But watch the entire interview. And of course, they talked about the part where in the trailer, Kandi is crying. I'm crying to prevent myself from choking choking Marlo. And so they play that clip and Marlo and Sheree are like, ooh, so violent. Marlo is saying it that way because, based on her past and the history, everything we know, and the mugshots and all of that, she's supposed to be the violent one. So she's just saying, oh, so violent for basically the way how she sounded with everything all of you had to say about me in my past, but you're over here talking about choking someone. And basically, they laughed at Kandi, saying that they don't understand why people who are really not going to do such a thing say things like that, because she's not headbutting anybody. She's not choking anybody. Even if Kandi could. Kenya is not about to mess up her brand or get locked up and allow miserable Marlo or anyone else to trick her off her spot. That's the easiest way to lose your spot, is letting someone that doesn't even deserve your spot to get you out of character. Okay, so cry all day long, Kandi. Just don't mess up your legacy and impact because of miserable Marlo and bone collector Sheree. Okay, and these two talking about holding people accountable. Yep, once again, delusional, because they don't even hold themselves accountable. Your spot in everything you're doing for these girls. You know what I'm saying? So they were laughing and basically saying, oh, she ain't gonna do nothing. It's just all talk. And basically, Sheree said, I mean, we're too old to be fighting and talking about choking people. Like, what is wrong with her? She was so violent. So, of course, they talk about that as well. People like Marlo, because Marlo is the one with the history and the mugshots and all of that. That's not shade. That's me being serious. Okay? People like Marlo feels like, look, we all fall short. We all make mistakes. Sometimes we can all be pushed to the point where we snap. So all of these women that are on the high horse, behaving like they can never get to that point where they completely lose it, it's possible. You're not always, in control all the time. So what they normally do is they will push you and push you and push you to the point where you snap, just to be able to say, aha, I told you it could happen to anyone, okay? While they sit back and pretend to be the classy one and pretend to be the change one, because now you are the one who's snapping, okay? For example, when Kenya Moore grabbed the glass, she took the glass from Ramona's hand on the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, because Ramona, you have a history of throwing wine glasses at people's faces and cutting their faces and hurting them. I'm not about to stand here and wait until you do that to me or my face. So I'm going to grab this glass from your hand to prevent that from happening. But when Portia Williams supporters taught Kenya Moore got in a physical altercation and put her hands on Ramona, there were all these comments of people celebrating. Yes, finally, a queen that would never put her hands on people. Now she's fighting the Portia. And then the episode came out fighting where? My point is, when you don't take accountability and you keep making excuses and trying to prove a point, that's the reason why Portia Williams went on her own show and attempted to fight Dennis' mother. And this was her husband holding her back, her fiance at the time. So when you hold yourself accountable and realize, what I did was wrong, and stop making excuses and trying to prove that other people can make the same mistakes too and trying to bring them off their high horse, that change will never come. So Kandi, like I said, keep walking away unless, of course, you are protecting yourself, self-defense, and all of that. And then, of course, Marlo was desperately trying to have a funny moment, So she was like, I don't think Kandi meant that she's trying to really harm someone. Kandi is a freak, and she's talking about choking. And Sheree said, oh, you're talking about choking someone in the bedroom? I don't think that's what she's talking about. And, of course, Marlo brought up, the whole dungeon situation, and Kandi is freaky and trying to choke me in her dungeon. Whatever she was trying to say. But let's move on to other things that they talked about. So the interviewer asked them, so then what is your problem with Kandi this season? And of course, Marlo jumped in. She's being held accountable, same old like last year. She's working for her check. And then Marlo went on to say that, Kandi wants to show the perfect side of her life. And yes, the new bag, I got bag as in money, the new movie role, the new opportunities, the new restaurant, the new this. However, your life is not perfect. And I'm just like, okay, what show Have Marlo been watching? Because Kandi life is not perfect. They show the mess. My only problem that I've had with Bravo is that when they do show Kandi mess, they come back and show the resolution. So even if Kandi and Todd had an argument, they come back and show how they were able to resolve it and become loving towards each other again. It's not constantly negative, 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 and oh my goodness, Todd is this terrible husband, and let's show them in this terrible light. So I've always complained about that. We get the fullness in the entire story of Kandi compared to, Kenya is in a negative situation. Let's only show that negative situation and then move on to something else. And in the entire season, let's just only show when there's something negative going on and don't show any positive. So in that aspect, yes. But we do see the negative side, but we see both sides. We get to see the positive as well in a resolution. And that's something that they do not do for everybody, especially our girl, Kenya Moore. They did better at that last season. So we shall see what's going to happen this season. Are they unhappy because Kenya got so many praises and people love, the Kenya that's always been there, but they blocked viewers from experiencing that Kenya? So are they going to go back to only showing the negative aspect of Kenya, or are they going to have a balanced season? We shall see. Both Sheree and Marlo said that Kenya Moore doesn't have a storyline, and she used them for a storyline. She used Martell, her man, for a storyline, and she also used Marlo for a storyline. I'm just sitting here like, yeah, okay. I'm sure it was both ways. You are not about to talk about Kenya, and she's just going to sit there and not respond. I don't get these women. It's a show. You talk about me, I'm clapping back. So who's using who? It goes both ways. But anyways, they said that the interviewer did not know anything about love and marriage or who Martell is. And so, of course, Sheree said they're still dating. He's a great guy. He's never disrespected her. He gets a bad rap. And she was like, why? I'm like, oh, poor little thing. She has no clue who this guy is. Let's move on. Of course, Marlo talk about her new guy. Don't care. Let's move on. And then Sheree announced that she's a grandma. And that now she's working on a baby line for Sheree by Sheree. And I just roll my eyes like, girl, the first one, Sheree by Sheree, is still struggling. And now you want to add a baby line? You couldn't even get the first one off the ground for over 150 years. Like, what is wrong with her? Anyways, hey, but power to her. I'm not here to crush people's dreams. Do your thing. Focus on the first one because we know the name, but the brand is not really doing what it's supposed to do because there are people who's been waiting for months for their products and you didn't even have enough inventory for those people. You sent out emails, allegedly, your team, canceling their orders and refunding their money because you didn't have no products to ship to them. So, anyways, kudos to Sheree. But overall, you can click the link and watch the rest of the interview. But that's about it. I'm wishing all of you well and take care.
My loves, thank you all for your love and support. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and leave this video a thumbs up. Also turn on notifications so when I do post, you're aware that I posted. And I will see you all in the comment section. Remember to always have the God bless attitude, which is being positive at all times and seeing the good in every situation. Have a great day, guys. God bless.